So I'm just going to be honest with you and try to get straight to the point. I've read so much nonsense on Twitter revolving around this George Not Found situation that it's making me sick to my stomach. Like, I made a video about it and I tried to understand it from both sides. I try to give respect to both sides. I try to be as neutral as possible and kind of just leave it at that. But as I'm reading through all of this stuff on Twitter, like, it actually makes me upset. It's crazy to me the way that some people are looking at consent. And now, not everybody, but a lot of the names that I click on, they're 18, 19, 20 years old themselves. And it seems like this new generation is just like, it seems like you guys are screwed. I'm just going to be completely honest with you because I don't understand the mentality and the way that you guys are looking at this. It makes absolutely no sense at all. This whole like, well, you have to give consent for everything. It's like, I get that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying just go and do some madness to somebody, but you act like body language isn't a thing. If you think it's weird because he's 26 and she's 18, that's fine. You can morally feel that way. It's not against the law, but everybody can feel how they want to feel about stuff. There's nothing, I have nothing to say about that. But as far as this whole like verbal consent for everything, now I get that that's the better consent to get because it's very straightforward and body language can be misread. But the fact that people are acting like body language isn't a thing and someone who doesn't get verbal consent is automatically a predator is one of the wildest things that I feel like I've ever heard in my life. Like, I'm sorry, but like anybody who's older than, say, 25, if you're watching this video, how many times have you either been cuddled with, if you're the female, or cuddled with somebody as the male, and you had to ask consent for every single move that you made? It's literally not a thing. And I know that there's going to be some young people that are like, well, looks like you've assaulted every person that you've ever hung out with. And that's not true. I've only had one night stand ever in my life. Besides that, every single person that I've ever been with is somebody that I've spoke with after the fact. And we've been completely cool. There's never been an issue. They've never spoke to their friends about me badly. There's never been anything like that. And I've never sat there and asked every step of the way. So it's like it's like this new thing where if it's not verbal, it automatically means that it's the worst thing that ever happened. And it blows my mind. Now you can argue that she's 18, he's 26. There should have been no alcohol given to her or any of her friends that were under 21. I don't disagree with that necessarily. So that could be an angle to your argument. That I can understand because you can say that obviously she may have been, under the influence and maybe didn't realize what she was doing. Even if her body language said that it was okay, even if she verbally said that it was okay, it still wouldn't have been because of that. If you want to go with that argument, at least then it makes like sense. But that's not what people are saying. People are literally saying if they don't say, yes, it's okay, then you are the bad guy. And it's like, just picture a scenario really quick. Someone they could be 18, maybe it makes more sense when they're 18, but let's just say they're 25, 30 years old. A man and a woman are hanging out, right? So they're on the couch, they're watching a movie. At some point, the guy wants to put his arm around her. He's got to ask her, hey, can I put my arm around you? She says yes. He puts his arm around her. Then after watching a little more, he wants to maybe like kind of touch her side a little, like, put his hand actually on her side and not just around her. He's got to now ask, hey, can I touch your side with my hand? Yeah, that's okay. And then if she gets scared and she's like, oh, I want to kind of cuddle in closer, I assume she has to ask him now, right? Because that's another move, pressing her body more against his. So now she has to ask, can I move closer to you? He says yes. Like, does this not begin to sound transactional? It just seems so weird to me. And then he's got to ask, hey, like, do you mind if I kiss you? She says yes. They start kissing, but it's without tongue. So if he wants to kiss with tongue, he's now got to stop kissing her and say, hey, do you mind if I also use my tongue? Because that's a next level thing, right? Like, you can't just stick your tongue in someone's mouth without consent. That'd be wrong. So you've got to ask. And then as that's happening, maybe she wants to put her hand on his thigh. She's got to stop the kissing to say, hey, can I put my hand on your thigh? So, oh, yeah, that's fine. Back to kissing, right? And then if he wants to suddenly think, okay, maybe this means I can put my hand like on her belly or, you know what I mean? Like, get a little bit more intimate with her. He's got to stop the kissing to ask her, hey, is it okay if I do this? And so on and so forth. Like, so every step of the way, you've got to stop to ask. And imagine a 30-year-old man being like, hey, do you mind if I grab your boob? Like, because you have to ask that. You can't just reach up her shirt and think that it's okay and grab it. So you have to specifically ask, is this act okay? Like, that sounds so odd to me. Am I the only one that feels like that sounds weird? Like, on some level, there's not body language that tells you that this is okay. And so you slowly try to make a move. And if it goes wrong and she says, hey, you know what? I'm not really interested in that. Or she kind of stops your hand, then you stop. And if you go past that, after she's told you no, now you start to become the predator. Now you start to become that guy who's doing something that somebody does not want you to do and you shouldn't be doing. But the thought that you literally have to ask every step, like, it's blowing my mind. And the more that I see these tweets of people so matter-of-factly saying, well, if you don't agree with this, then I feel bad for all the girls that you've assaulted. Like, what world are we living in anymore? Like, is this actually a real thing? I'm just so blown away. I've never once in my life asked any of these questions, but I've never once in my life had a problem. And I've never had somebody ask me if they suddenly want to touch me somewhere or do so. Like, it's just like there's a body language, there's a vibe that's happening between us, and that's just kind of what you roll with until you realize that maybe you misread it because the other person spoke up, right? And I get some people are like, well, not everybody wants to speak up. Well, then you should. Like, I also don't understand that. It's like if your body language is telling me one thing, but you're not going to speak up and say anything, it's like I don't know. This shit just kind of bothers me. I mean, I do agree that verbal consent is the more straightforward, right? If you ask, they say yes. There's no mistaking it. However, even in those situations, you see some people after the fact feel like, oh, well, I actually didn't want to do that, but I said yes because I was nervous. So at that point, it's like, then just we have to be mind readers. Like, I just don't get it. And then on top of that, people are talking about this power dynamic. Oh, well, he's a big creator, she's a small creator, so there's automatically a power dynamic. I hate this new mentality where it's like if you're successful, you can't hang out with anybody that's less successful than you because you have a power dynamic. It's automatically there. Even if you don't utilize it, if you don't pressure someone, if you don't use it to your advantage, you're still in that power dynamic and it's wrong of you, no matter what. Like, in what world does it work like that? Not everybody is looking at it that way. Now, if he used it like, hey, and made her feel like you have to do this to be able to hang out with this group of people. You have to do this, or we're going to try to make you look bad and use our communities. If that's not being said, if that's not being used, if that's not being done in any way, then it's like that's on you that you feel that someone's going to do that. Like you need therapy then. You have some issues. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like no one's making you feel that way. Like if a boss was telling an employee like, "Hey, like if you don't go through with this, like I'm going to make your life difficult." Or you've seen that they did it to somebody else, or they've done it to you in some type of way, then okay, you have the right to feel that way. But otherwise, I'm like, where is this coming from? It's basically saying that if you've reached a certain level in life, you can only hang out with other people that have reached that level. Otherwise, there's a power dynamic and you're automatically a bad guy. Like, what are we like? What are we actually talking about? This shit is just so odd to me. I don't really understand it, and it's like the more I keep reading it on Twitter, the more that it's bothering me. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. Like I'm sorry, but if you're out there and you're telling me that you've asked every step of the way, you're like, yo, can I grab your boob? Can I grab your pussy? Can I hit you with the Trump? You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't make any sense to me. Like the body language is what kind of gets you there. Now you shouldn't just jump to grabbing and doing anything like that, but obviously there's a slow roll that gets you in that place. You put your hand on someone's belly, a little bit under their shirt. You see how they respond to it. If it seems like they're still kind of pushing against you with their body, things are going well. Maybe you move it a little bit further. You're kissing, like, and you slowly get to that point. And if someone says no, they stop you or their body pulls away, it's very clear that that's not what they want you to do. So it's like, I don't know. I don't understand it. And this whole like power dynamic thing, and it's automatically his fault because he's trying to go about life like a normal human being. Just because he reached success, he's not thinking about, oh, I'm successful every 5 minutes. He's in the wrong for that. Like, it's just so stupid. And it's to the point where like he's proven how many times she's lied. They lied about the text message that his own friend supposedly sent, making it seem like he was uncomfortable with the situation. Like lied about the fact that they were cuddling and made it seem like he just reached up her shirt. Like lied about so many different things, but it's okay. It doesn't matter because she feels the way she feels and he didn't verbally ask. So you can lie your ass off. He's still the bad guy. Like I'm gonna be real with you. I'm happy that I don't live amongst this younger crowd in this world because you guys are crazy. Like you guys are literally crazy. I'm sorry. Nobody is promoting SA. Nobody is saying that it's okay. Nobody is saying that it's something that should happen or that we want to happen. But some of these things that you guys are labeling as SA, it just makes literally no sense. And I feel bad for all the people that are growing up in this new generation because it's going to be a tough life. Like it's going to be a really tough life. There's no one that's trying to discredit the way Katie feels. She can feel that she was uncomfortable about it after the fact. That's completely fine. But someone being uncomfortable about it doesn't necessarily mean that the other person is automatically the bad guy, the predator. Right? Like, it doesn't mean that the intentions were bad. And then I get the whole, well, even if his intentions were bad, he hurt somebody, so he's automatically wrong and we should automatically cancel him and all this other stuff. That's not reality. This is, to me, is no different than politics, where it's like nowadays, if you disagree on one thing with someone, you're automatically their enemy. The right and the left can't be friends. Nobody can disagree, and if you do, you're automatically a phobic or a phobe or something. Like it's a wild time to be alive, where things were never like this before. Like there was misunderstandings, there was different things that would occur on an obviously innocent level and not like anything malicious involved. And people just it was like, let's talk it out, let's understand each other, and let's move forward. Nowadays, it's like you're a SA guy. You're a phobe. You're a racist. You're this. Oh my, like that's how I feel 2024 is. And I'm like, bro, we're going in the wrong direction. We're going in the wrong direction. Anyways, I don't know. I just wanted to bitch about that a little bit. I don't even know if this is going to be coherent because I didn't structure any of this. I don't usually structure many of my videos, but I woke up today and I read some more shit on Twitter, and I'm just like I don't know, man. Like this doesn't make any sense. Again, someone please tell me down below if this is what you do. Do you ask every step of the way? Do you ask, hey, can I put my arm around you? Hey, can I put my hand on your thigh? Can I kiss you? Stop the kiss to ask if you can now use your tongue. Can I put my hand on your belly? Can I grab your boob? Is it okay if I squeeze your cheek? Can we, move to the next level? Like, or does body language dictate a lot of those moves? Just let me know. Honestly, I'm honestly curious because I can't picture in my head two people sitting on a couch watching a movie and things escalating to them having sex, and every step of the way there's questions being asked, because I feel like at that point you're just not going to have sex. There's just not going to be sex, even if both people want it. Like the mood at that point is ruined. Like you just keep asking all the littlest things to go to the next step, because of course you can't just decide to do things, right? Like you can't kiss somebody and then decide to suddenly use tongue, because that's an invasion of their privacy and they didn't agree to that, right? So you have to stop the kiss to ask. Can I remove your shirt? Is that okay? Well, once the shirt is removed, the bra is still on. So you can't just assume that she also wants her bra off. You have to ask. You have to make sure, get consent a couple of different times, maybe even record it. Like y'all are crazy. Anyways, I'm done. I just wanted to talk about this. I'm sure some people will try to flame me for it, but I feel like there's a lot of logical thinking people out there that live in the real world and don't live in this internet fantasy land where things don't make any sense. And I'm counting on that. So we'll find out, but take it easy. I'll catch you in the next ones.